Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. We'll be having simple conversations to help you improve your speaking and listening skills.
No matter your level, you're welcome here. So, grab a snack, get comfy, and let's jump into the world of English together. Have you been watching the news lately? It seems like every other report is about extreme weather events.
Absolutely. Droughts, floods, wildfires. It's terrifying. I don't remember it being this bad when I was growing up.
Me neither. It feels like the climate is changing so rapidly. Scientists have been warning us about this for years, but it seems like people are only starting to take it seriously now.
It's a real shame. We could have prevented a lot of this if we had acted sooner. But I guess it's better late than never.
Definitely. I'm starting to make changes in my own life, like trying to reduce my carbon footprint. I've switched to energy-efficient appliances, and I'm carpooling more often.
That's great. I've been thinking about getting solar panels installed on my roof. I know it's a big investment, but it would be worth it in the long run.
Absolutely. And there are other things we can do, like supporting businesses that are committed to sustainability and reducing waste.
I agree. It's going to take a collective effort to turn things around. But I'm hopeful that with increased awareness and action, we can make a difference.
Me too. I think the younger generation is really passionate about environmental issues, and they're going to be the ones to lead the charge.
I have a lot of faith in them. They're already making their voices heard, and I think we'll see some real progress in the coming years.
I hope so. In the meantime, we can all do our part to make a difference.
Absolutely. It's a small planet, and we need to take care of it.
You know, I was reading an article the other day about the impact of climate change on agriculture. It's pretty alarming.
Yeah, I heard about that. With more extreme weather events, it's getting harder and harder for farmers to produce food.
Exactly. And it's not just the farmers who suffer. The whole food supply chain is at risk. We could see increased food prices and shortages.
That's a scary thought. And it's not just about food. Climate change is affecting everything from water availability to biodiversity.
It's a complex issue with far-reaching consequences. I think it's crucial for governments to invest in sustainable agriculture and develop resilient food systems.
Absolutely. But it also requires a shift in consumer behavior. We need to reduce food waste, eat less meat, and support local farmers.
I'm trying to do my part. I've been composting and growing some of my own herbs. It's a small step, but it makes me feel better about my impact.
That's great. Every little bit helps. I've been trying to reduce my meat consumption and explore plant-based alternatives.
Have you tried any good meat substitutes? I'm always looking for new options.
Actually, I made this amazing lentil loaf last week. It was surprisingly satisfying.
That sounds delicious. I might have to give that a try.
You should. It's a great way to incorporate more plant-based protein into your diet.
I'm definitely going to try it. But to be honest, I'm still a bit of a meat lover. I guess it's a work in progress.
We all have our challenges. The important thing is to keep trying and making gradual changes.
You know, I think it's fascinating how climate change is forcing us to rethink our entire relationship with food. It's almost like we're going back to the basics in some ways.
Absolutely. There's a growing interest in local and seasonal eating. People are realizing the importance of supporting their communities and reducing food miles.
It's a great trend. I've started visiting our local farmers market more often. The produce is so fresh and flavorful.
Me too. And it's a great way to connect with the people who grow your food. I feel more invested in what I'm eating.
Exactly. Plus, it's often cheaper than buying from the grocery store.
Definitely. but it's not always easy to find everything you need at the farmer's market.
That's true. I still have to go to the grocery store for some things, but I try to focus on buying whole foods and avoiding processed products.
It's definitely a challenge, but it's worth it. I feel like I have more energy and I'm sleeping better since I've been eating healthier.
I know what you mean. I used to get tired all the time, but now I feel so much better.
It's amazing how much of an impact food can have on our overall well-being.
Absolutely. I think it's important to listen to our bodies and eat what makes us feel good.
Exactly. And it's okay to indulge every once in a while. Life is all about balance.
Speaking of food, I've been thinking a lot about food waste lately. It's a huge problem.
Absolutely. It's shocking how much food ends up in the landfill. And it's not just the environmental impact, it's also a waste of resources.
It's true. I've been trying to be more mindful about what I buy and how much I cook. I've even started freezing leftovers to avoid throwing them away.
That's a great idea. I'm terrible at meal planning, so I often end up with food going bad. I need to get better at it.
It takes practice. Maybe we could share some meal planning tips.
That would be helpful. I'm always looking for new recipe ideas too.
I love trying new recipes. I found a great cookbook at the library the other day with lots of vegetarian options.
Oh, I'm interested in trying more vegetarian meals. I've heard it's good for the environment and your health.
Definitely. There are so many delicious vegetarian and vegan recipes out there.
I'm a bit intimidated by the idea of cooking without meat, but I'm willing to give it a try.
It's not as hard as it seems. There are plenty of substitutes for meat like tofu, tempeh, and lentils.
Maybe I'll start with something simple, like a lentil soup.
That's a great choice. It's hearty and satisfying. You know, I was thinking about how our food choices also impact the environment in other ways, like packaging waste.
That's a great point. I've noticed more and more people bringing reusable bags to the grocery store, but there's still so much plastic.
It's crazy. I try to buy products with minimal packaging, but it's tough sometimes.
Me too. I've started buying some things in bulk to reduce waste.
That's a good idea. I should try that. Have you looked into composting food scraps?
I've been wanting to start, but I'm not sure how to do it properly. It seems a bit overwhelming.
It's not as complicated as it sounds. You can start small with a countertop composter.
Maybe I'll give it a try. I've heard it's really rewarding to see your food scraps turn into compost.
It is. And it's amazing how much you can compost.
I guess it's time to start thinking about how I can reduce my overall waste.
Exactly. Small changes can make a big difference.
I feel like we're constantly learning about new ways to be more sustainable.
It's true. It's a lot to keep up with, but it's important to stay informed.
Definitely. I'm glad we can share tips and ideas with each other.
Have you noticed a change in the seasons lately? It feels like winter is shorter and summers are getting hotter.
Absolutely. I remember as a kid, winters were always snowy and crisp. Now it's more like a mild fall.
It's crazy how the weather patterns are shifting. And those extreme weather events, hurricanes, wildfires, it's terrifying.
It's like we're living in a different world. I worry about future generations.
Me too. I think about the kind of planet we're leaving behind.
It's a heavy thought, isn't it? But I try to focus on what I can do to help.
Same here. I've been trying to be more conscious of my energy consumption.
Good for you. I've been thinking about getting a solar panel for my home.
That's a great idea. It's a long-term investment, but it pays off in the end.
Exactly. And it feels good to know you're doing something positive for the environment.
I know what you mean. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming, but every little bit helps.
Absolutely. We need to support policies that promote renewable energy too.
Definitely. Our leaders need to prioritize sustainability.
I hope we can see some real progress in the next few years.
Me too. It's a long road, but we have to keep moving forward. You know, I saw a documentary the other day about ocean acidification. It's really alarming how quickly it's happening.
That's terrible. I knew about coral bleaching, but I didn't realize the impact on the entire marine ecosystem.
It's a huge problem, and it's directly linked to climate change. The oceans are absorbing a lot of the excess carbon dioxide, which is changing the pH levels.
It's like a domino effect. One problem leads to another. I wonder what the long-term consequences will be for marine life.
It's hard to say, but it's clear that we need to reduce our carbon footprint as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And we need to support organizations working to protect our oceans.
There are a lot of great initiatives out there. We can also make a difference in our daily lives by reducing plastic consumption and supporting sustainable seafood.
That's true. Small actions can add up. I've been trying to be more mindful about what I buy.
It's a good start. I've also been trying to eat less seafood, especially species that are overfished.
That's a great idea. I didn't think about it that way.
We need to be more conscious consumers overall. It's about making choices that benefit both people and the planet.
I agree. It's a challenge, but it's important.
I saw a really interesting article about the impact of climate change on mental health. It's fascinating how interconnected everything is.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about it that way. I mean, extreme weather events, economic disruptions, and displacement can all contribute to increased anxiety and stress.
Exactly. And it's not just the direct impacts. There's also a sense of eco-anxiety and grief for the loss of biodiversity and natural landscapes.
It's overwhelming sometimes. I feel like there's so much happening in the world, and it's hard to process it all.
I know what you mean, but it's important to find healthy ways to cope. Things like spending time in nature, practicing mindfulness, and connecting with others can really help.
Definitely. I've been trying to get outside more, even if it's just for a short walk.
It makes a huge difference. And talking about our feelings with friends and family can also be helpful.
That's true. Sometimes just sharing what you're going through can provide a sense of relief.
Absolutely. We're all in this together, and supporting each other is crucial.
I think it's important to remember that we can make a difference, even if it feels small.
Exactly. And celebrating the small victories can help keep our spirits up.
I like that perspective. It's easy to get caught up in the negativity, but we need to focus on the positive too.
You know, it's interesting how connected our mental well-being is to the natural world. Spending time outdoors really does wonders for my mood.
Absolutely. There's something so grounding about being in nature. It helps me feel connected and centered.
I think it's important to find ways to incorporate more nature into our daily lives. Even small things like having houseplants or taking a walk in the park can make a difference.
Definitely. I've been trying to spend more time gardening. It's a great way to relax and be productive at the same time.
I've been thinking about starting a small herb garden on my balcony. It would be nice to have fresh herbs for cooking.
That sounds lovely. I've heard that gardening can be therapeutic.
I'm sure it is. It's a great way to connect with the earth and watch something grow.
And it's a tangible way to contribute to a healthier environment.
Exactly. Even small actions can have a positive impact.
It's inspiring to see how many people are becoming more environmentally conscious.
Me too. I think we're starting to see a shift in mindset.
Hopefully, it's a trend that will continue to grow.
Have you been following the news about electric vehicles? It seems like there's a new model coming out every day.
Definitely. It's exciting to see how quickly the technology is advancing. I'm curious to see how it will impact the automotive industry.
Me too. It could be a game changer. I wonder how long it will take for electric vehicles to become the norm.
I think it depends on several factors, like battery technology, charging infrastructure, and government incentives.
That's true. And the cost is still a barrier for many people.
But prices are coming down, and the range of electric vehicles is improving.
It's definitely a trend to watch. I'm curious to see how it will impact public transportation and urban planning.
That's a good point. We could see a shift towards more sustainable cities with fewer cars on the road.
It would be great to have cleaner air and less traffic congestion.
And it could lead to the creation of new jobs in the green energy sector.
Absolutely. There's a lot of potential for economic growth and environmental benefits.
It's an exciting time to be alive. I'm optimistic about the future of transportation.